When John LaPook was asked to be chief medical correspondent on CBS News, he suddenly had a communication problem. But the challenge wasn't that he had to cover breaking news in all of medicine. It was suddenly realizing he had to read off a teleprompter. He told me about it when we talked on Clear and Vivid.
Alan, you have to have total humility, because when I first came, they thought that I had all this. I think there was a miscommunication, Alan, that they thought I knew more than I did. So I get up there the very first time. Mike Somson was my producer. It's 2006. Katie hadn't been there yet. Bob Schieffer was there, and I'm doing a story about a new medication to try to tell people to stop smoking. And so they thought that I knew how to read the teleprompter, all that stuff. So
you weren't used to that.
So thank goodness it was pre-taped. They said, let's just do a pre-tape. We haven't seen him before. They put up the teleprompter, and Mike says, just read the prompt and then turn to Bob, and he'll ask you a question. They go, 3, 2, 1, go. Today, there is an important development where a new... Stop! Cut! Have you ever read the teleprompter?
Nobody can see this. On the podcast, nobody can see this, but your eyes are moving across the screen with each word.
Right.
That's the awful thing about teleprompters.
So they
You look like a deer frightened in the headlights.
No, and you know, so the next whatever, how many time units was spent me trying to sound like myself. You know how hard that can be. But they ended up sending me to like my Henry Higgins, who was Priscilla Shanks. Thank goodness for her. She helped Peter Jennings and you name it. And she was, you know, basically like not quite the reign in Spain, but most people I think would go to her for like 2 or 3, 4 months. I think I was with her for like 2 years, something like that.
This is interesting to me. What are the general principles that you learned and perfected working with her?
Well, I won't say perfected, but what she would do is we would listen to pieces. She would tell me what words, for example, not to hit. Like she would say, don't hit and. Now you may say that for dramatic effect while you're talking, but and doesn't help anybody. You know, Howard Stringer, who, you know, is a family friend and who was president of CBS News at one point and so many other things, said to me at the beginning, remember that television is an auditory medium, that half of the people are cooking the meals, they're not even watching, they're listening. So it's really important what you say and how you say it. So she really was on me about what to emphasize, what not to emphasize, how to make it so that you're telling a story. So it'd be like, okay, I'm going to tell you this. Do you have this? Well, now let me tell you about that. And then you got that? Well, now I'm going to tell you about this. And sort of trying to talk like that. Of course, it's easier said than done. You've talked about that, Alan, right? About not having the radio voice like, hello, I'm now on the radio. You know?
I know. It cuts off the listener.
Yeah. So eventually I ended up getting good enough so that they let me fly without Priscilla Shanks.